A crisis is always an amplifier of your weaknesses and strengths. One thing I learned is even if you're not raising, keep communicating. Tell those investors in your address book what's going on. I do a lot of social selling on LinkedIn. I have a lot of investor connections on LinkedIn so they know what's going on, and just keep talking regardless of whether you're raising or not. That builds trust and opens door faster in the future. That's the thing which keeps me thinking a lot, like, how does the world look like tomorrow?
Hello everybody, and welcome to a new episode of the Startup Empathy video series. In this episode, you get to meet Reto Lämmler, who is the CEO and co-founder of TestingTime. Now, TestingTime and Reto might look familiar to you because he was already a guest on the Startup Show. And it's very exciting to hear updates and see how they're doing, and especially getting some insights into their current bridge round, a financing round they just closed, to make sure they survive this crisis and other actions they've taken to make sure they get through this crisis. I really hope you get some learnings out of this and you enjoy the video. Reto, welcome back. I mean, you are one of the experienced guys here on our channel. The second time you've been featured on the Startup Show, episode 143, if I remember correctly, about a little bit more than a year ago, when we were in a happy world and pre-crisis. So I'm very excited to have you back here on the Startup Empathy. I mean, like, one of the key questions that everybody's asking on Zoom, where are you at the moment? So where are you right now?
Hello, and I'm glad to be back. I'm currently in Zurich, Wiedikon, at home.
Yeah, so we are actually here at the CeoVision pop-up studio. CeoVision is a startup here based in Zurich that is doing AI-powered camera operating systems, which I'm really excited to use, especially special circumstances require special ideas. So we are here recording. So I'm very excited to be here. Now, let's get first started. Maybe, Reto, for the two people out there who never heard of TestingTime, give but only a 1-minute introduction about what TestingTime is, and then we get right into all the other questions.
TestingTime recruits test users. So basically we help companies out there to build user-friendly products and services. And the way we support them is we have a pool of 500,000 test users, and customers can order test users on our platform for usability tests, online surveys, focus groups, etc. And then we make sure we select the right people and schedule everything so they participate reliably with our customers' user experience studies.
Now, if you want to hear more, for all the people out there who want to hear more, I mean, there's the whole episode where we only talk about TestingTime as what the company does and what you do. So definitely worth it to check it out. In today's episode, I want to talk a little bit about what happened in the last couple of months and moving forward. So maybe tell us a little bit of an update. What happened in the last 2 to 3 months, considering the crisis that we're all in?
2 to 3 months, that means starting February. Everything looked still great. We had a great February, above expectations. March started great too. In a way, the entire Q1 was almost 40% above last year. So it was a great quarter, but March changed things. So initially we all thought this is a temporary thing. I was also one of those who thought it's like a flu, it will go away, nothing big. But slowly but steadily we realized this is going to be something bigger and worse. We saw that in March, especially second half of March, once the lockdown started, that all our customers stopped ordering in-house test users. So in-house means we schedule test users to go into the office of our customers or into the usability lab. And that kind of stopped immediately. People were forced to work from home. So we said, well, you can still do user research, just use our remote channels. We do the same thing also for remote studies. So we connect test users like we do right now here in Zoom, you know, or any specific tools. But customers were like so offset from their regular work life thing that they stopped using us for a minute, I mean for a couple of weeks. And then we jumped in and really said, hey, we need to help our customers to switch to remote user research. And we did a good job there. We launched blog posts, webinars, and that really helped. And we could kind of transition a lot of these in-house studies into the remote world. And we aren't like back to normal revenue, but we kind of stop the downfall, you know, from business going away. And right now, the vector points into the right direction. So business is catching up again. We even now working on a blog post to show customers how you have to prepare your lab or your office when you get people back into your in-house studies again.
So some time for adjustment was also needed on your end. But like how, I mean, like one of the things that I want to discuss with you, I mean, you just closed the bridge round, which as far as I understand is already announced. So no news there, but maybe you can elaborate a little bit. Was this a planned bridge round, or was this a round that like was like all of a sudden necessary because of the crisis? So how did you go about this?
Yeah, good question. So far I only talked about customers and our business model. As a company, we were just lucky to have started this bridge round. We planned this end of last year. And for some reasons, or the universe wanted us to close it. so we just accelerated, and one of our lead investors, Swiss Post, really helped us accelerate the process so we could close it with the targeted ticket sizes, you know. So we closed the 1 million bridge round as planned, and nothing got disrupted there. So we also applied and got this government loan. And so on the liquidity side, we were super happy to get us on the safe side. So we have now a runway for almost 2 years, you know. But of course, due to the revenue loss, it's about 20% to 30% compared to last year. We burn more now. And so we thought about like, how can we save on the spending side, you know, and there we had to cut sales and marketing budgets. Of course, some was organic because sales couldn't travel anymore. That just happened organically, but also like sponsorings of conferences went off. And we calculated everything, and in the board, we realized, hey, this is no longer about optimize for growth, as we were thinking at the end of the year. It was optimization in terms of survival, runway. How long can we stretch our runway? And we also decided, hey, we need to use short-time work. So we established that for a few months now. I mean, we are in the second month now. We hope to get out by the end of the quarter 2. But it's just like we put everything in place to really secure cash in the bank, and the spendings.
Just like one of the things that like what would be interesting for me to hear is like your interactions with the investors. I mean, like anyways, like you probably give updates to the investors, like, but what is there anything that has changed in like what investors want to hear compared to pre-crisis?
Actually, I was very surprised how understanding investors were. It was no longer like, hey, what's going on? I want my money back, whatever. Maybe it has to do because I'm someone who communicates very proactively. So right when the lockdown happened, I sent an email to all investors like, look, this is where we are, and this is where we believe we will go. I strongly believe we will come out of this stronger because all the consumer and customer journeys out there are now reset. Things will change how we consume and buy things. So that means there needs to be a lot of user research done. Mm-hmm. And we believe we are the partner to get this done right. And that's why I could build trust with the investors that in the long term we will come out as a winner. But what really helps is to communicate proactively so they don't have to come to you and collect information from you.
Well, was there something that the investors said to be specifically, cautious about?
I think it was, in our board there are 2 investors, and I was still in the growth mindset, like, hey, let's push, let's paddle for the medal, maybe discuss salary cuts and give them shares to the employees, we can still be here. And then the switch surprised me, but I think it's a good one. Hey, don't worry about growth, about the original budget. That's not our concern. It's really about survival, preserve cash, go into survival mode. And because we don't know, there is no deadline to this crisis. We don't know how long this lasts. So that was the advice I heard left and right. Just prepare yourself for a long burst.
Yes.
Or a longer crisis. Yeah.
Now I want to, change a little bit, angle a little bit again on your team and like how your team was handling it. Like one of the questions that I really like to ask, in times of crisis, you really see who are the true leaders, who can really stand out and who can, be the one that spreads the positivity. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit of like your experience that you felt like, what were the stories that like inspired you now looking at your team, how they handled the crisis?
It's quite a difficult question because first off, everyone, I'm the only one in the team who has experienced 2001, the dot-com burst, and 2008 and 2009. So this pandemic crisis was for everyone new, including myself. So first, nobody really knew how to deal with it. I was overwhelmed at the beginning. How do I keep a team motivated to go forward? By sending everyone home to work from home, by cutting in a way their salary through the short time work. It's a little cut, but still, there was not a lot of knowledge out there I could go and read up on and say, okay, this is how you do this, because nobody out there experienced that. I think as a leader, you have to stay humble and show empathy. I think it's like what I try to communicate, not just try, I communicate. It's like, look, if everyone takes a little hit, no one has to suffer big. So everyone suffers a little bit. Yeah. And together we get through this. It's very difficult, but I think to stay authentic as a leader, to share what is the pain I go through, and so you share, not just like, oh, I'm strong, I'm going ahead. And so that builds trust, because everyone is a human in this, and communication again was very important. We have twice a week updates, all come together in a Google Hangout call, and we talk and we communicate, so everyone always knows where they stand, and that also takes away fear of job loss. And so next week we got some external person who gives a talk about how to handle emotions in uncertain times. So let's see what inspiration that person brings to us. And we try different things.
Yes, but maybe I want to dig a little bit deeper about these fears, because again, I have it, and probably a lot of other founders have it also, where it's really about the existence. And again, a lot of us founders, we anyways have a low salary, so to cut it even lower is sometimes really existential. But what are let's say your main fears, and how are you coping with them?
So first, I have been mentally prepared to this long time ago. One of my ex-girlfriends always said, look, you should every day be able to let go on testing time. Don't cling onto it, then you are in the right mindset. That means when you get the valuation after a financing round, you say, oh, now my shares are worth that much. But that's really, it doesn't matter. Every day you should get up and say, I can let go and it's fine. My life will go on if testing time wouldn't exist. So I always kind of carry this in my mind. So I don't have a fear of loss at the moment. Yeah. I have spent 5 years into this baby, and I'm okay if this thing would totally fall apart. It's fine. Yeah. I had a really great time. That's my mindset. But still, what really worries me is, how does the world look like afterwards? How can we transition us into this new tomorrow, which nobody really knows what this is going to be. Is our business model still relevant? And I want to be at the poker table also afterwards, because I want to matter. I want to have this purpose, and I have the responsibility of 26 other people in the team. You know, I want to do this with them. If it's just me, then fine, but I have a responsibility here. And so that's the thing which keeps me thinking a lot, like, how does the world look like tomorrow?
Yes, I mean, it's definitely here on my list. What's the plan for the future? But again, like, I guess this already answers it. But again, like, I definitely hear this runs, like, coping with the responsibility of other people's life is probably even harder than with your own. Knowing that, like, if father or mother you are hired, and like if you cut their salary, that really have an existential outcome, then that is definitely something that is also keeping me up at night. I mean, like. Yeah, that is definitely very, very hard. But anyhow, I mean, we still have to look into the future and see, like, what opportunities there are. But like, maybe like now moving forward, or you are more like saying like, okay, like this is a temporary state that we are in now, or like you're saying like, no, let's just keep it as it is right now, and if something changes, we'll adapt again. What is your mindset around that?
At the moment, we try to come back to a normality, how we come together. So even like bringing people slowly back to the office in different waves and so on. So we just try to stabilize things, how we work together. And we challenge everything we do today. So it's not like, let's just wait and see how it is tomorrow and then we adapt. No, we explore things. For example, what if in-house user test, our, in a way, cash cow, is not coming back because companies say we cannot let strangers into our office anymore. So what is our USP going to be? And this kind of things we are heavily exploring, you know, like how can we find new USPs? How do we need to adapt? Because in the remote world alone, that's highly competitive now, and we have a stake in there, but there are so many more players, so we need to explore different approaches. So we do challenge the status quo quite heavily at the moment, and even try out things. So when the new tomorrow comes, we're ready, you know, and
yes.
not we have then to build it, because if we are ready, then we're gonna hopefully belong to the winners and not lose, you know.
What are these, like I'm curious to know about these experiments. Like, what are the things that, like, you're currently trying to see if it's adaptable to the new world?
Maybe first I have to also mention a crisis is always an amplifier of your weaknesses and strengths, you know. That's also something crazy. So we always knew TestingTime is a transactional business, right? So transactional business is like Uber. When you take a ride, you pay, and you don't have an Uber subscription. You know, TestingTime the same. You use it when you need it, and then you pay for it. And now we always knew a subscription would bring stability in revenue. That got heavily amplified because people stopped ordering. Ergo, the revenue went off.
Yes.
With subscriptions, that wouldn't have happened. So we are exploring how can we offer our business model in a all-can-you-eat way as a subscription. So we have more stability in the revenue, and customers have more benefits in terms of usage. And the other thing we're exploring is special pools. Our customers always want some niche profiles, like wealthy people, blind people, truck drivers, whatever. So, and I think we could sell such profiles at a much higher rate. And we always said, this doesn't scale and whatever, but we are now thinking about a marketplace for special pools, you know, and sell them at a premium price. And this is something we are exploring. That could be something nobody else does, could give us a new USP.
One of the things that I'm also curious to know is about, like, now let's assume this is the reality and this is how it's going to stay for a while. How are you planning on doing investor relations from now on? I mean, especially number one, the current ones that you have already convinced to be part of your journey, but like to find new ones, I believe is significantly harder now than it has been like when you can go and mingle at events and meet them naturally or get introduced. What's your plan there?
I haven't really, because now for at least 1 year, let's say for a year, this financing topping is off the table, but then we usually start 1 year before the next round or whatever. So at the moment, I don't know, and I think I will cross the bridge when I get there. One thing I learned is, even if you're not raising, keep communicating, you know, tell those investors in your address book what's going on. I do a lot of social selling on LinkedIn. I have a lot of investor connections on LinkedIn, so they know what's going on. And just keep talking, regardless of whether you're raising or not. That builds trust and opens door faster in the future.
What is your number one learning from this crisis?
The amplification of strengths and weaknesses in your business model.
What is your number one feeling in this crisis?
I'm still positive. I know we get through this. I don't know. It's also really, I feel positive, you know. It's going to be good.
What do you think will be the change that will last forever?
Not shaking hands anymore.
What is the, I mean, like us as entrepreneurs, we see a lot of opportunities left and right, but we have to stay focused on our core business. What is the one opportunity that you feel has opened up because of this crisis, but you can't pursue it at the moment?
Food delivery business. I think I couldn't understand why a Le Shop or so had, or even Farmy had scalability problems. Maybe they were just overrun, but this is like, come on, this is your opportunity, your chance to shine, and you go online and say, well, we cannot give you a delivery window for the next 4 weeks, you know? And it's like,
e-commerce 101.
And, it's like, fix it. This is your, this is your way in.
Your one tip to work from home?
Kind of behave as if you would go to the office without going to the office. So basically get up and eat breakfast, shower, go outside, down the stairs and come back in. So
really like simulate the going to work.
Yep.
Okay, Reto, thank you so much for giving me some of your insights and thoughts on the current crisis and how you're handling. Well done. Keep up the good work. Keep it up. We're all in this somewhat together, even from apart. So thank you very much for taking the time, and much success and health.
Thank you, Cédric. Also to you, all the best. Stay strong. It's going to be good.
Yes.